Hey, good morning, good afternoon. I'm Brian Manning. This is the Asylum Answer Show where I'm going to answer your questions about winning asylum in the United States. So I'm a former asylum officer turned asylum lawyer. So my law firm, we're based in Texas, but honestly, it doesn't matter where we're located because we help people all over the country. We can help you no matter where you live in the United States. I want to answer your questions today about winning asylum in America. Let me know what questions you have. But before you start dropping those questions, say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Love to see where our community is tuning in from, where you're joining us from across the nation. So say hello. Hello on YouTube. Those numbers are picking up on YouTube. We got Facebook. Hello. We got LinkedIn. We got TikTok. Hey guys, good afternoon. For those of you on the East Coast, good morning for everyone else in the country. I'm Brian Manning, former asylum officer, now asylum lawyer, and I'm here to answer your questions. What's up, Moshi? Thanks for joining us. Hi, Fuzala Fazi. Sorry for the mispronunciation. Juggernaut, Papa, good morning. Welcome. Hello, hello. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Where we got? Where are we representing today? Hello on YouTube. Good morning. We got Florida. Peters Tax Multi-Services LLC says hello from Florida. Nice. Who we got on TikTok? Hey, Tico Cornelio. Welcome. Mr. Grinch. What's up? Hello, sir. Nice. Good morning. Can asylum work for an international flight attendant? Maybe. Well, let me get back to that one. I'm going to address that. Mohammed says hello from Dallas. We got Loic says hello from Alexandria by way of Congo Kinshasa. Loic, do you speak Lingala? What else do you speak? Caneta says watching from Texas, your client here. Nice. Love seeing our clients online. Thank you, Caneta. Ernest, thank you for being with us. Caneta Ernest. Look, I want to answer your questions about winning asylum in the United States. But before I turn to your questions, I want to say a couple words about this topic. Is your social media presence a liability in your asylum case? Look, the government does sometimes check your social media, okay? As far as I know, not in every single case. They're not doing a deep dive and really scouring the web and scouring your social media for every single asylum applicant, but they do it for some, okay? I can tell you when I was an asylum officer with the government, they definitely did this, and I know that there are reports that they do it now. And just a few days ago, a report came out saying that the government is now going to proactively ask for your social media handles. Now, they did this in the past during the last Trump administration on visa applications. When you were abroad and you were applying for a U.S. visa, that application form, the DS-160, asked you to list your social media handles. Like, what's your name, your social media name on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, all that. That sounds like that's what they're trying to start now for a few different immigration application types. For sure, according to reports and according to the plan published in the Federal Register for asylum applications, green card applications, and for citizenship applications. Like, they're going to probably change the application forms for all three of those to ask you about your social media info, like your handles, your names on social media. And if you don't provide it and they find something for you that they match to you and you didn't provide it, well, guess what? That could be an excuse to deny your claim or to say that you're not credible and then deny you. Pretty serious stuff here. Look, they probably are not, I believe they're not able to access stuff that is not shared publicly. So like if you have a Facebook feed and you only post things that you share to friends that you're friends with on Facebook, they're not going to see that. I'm pretty sure. I have no reason to believe that they are able to, or that they have a policy of like breaking into your private spaces. However, let me say, well, I shouldn't say that, because there are reports of them seeking to use fake profiles and befriend people. So that's kind of like breaking in, right? If they're faking, like making up names, making up profiles, and then befriending people, and then they get to see the stuff that you've shared with your friends because they're now your friend. So the point is this: the point is you got to be careful on social media, because look, I'm not telling you to like hide things that actually make you ineligible for asylum. Like, I'm not trying to help you hide bad things. What I'm telling you is that they often misinterpret things as bad things. So in fact, I just got done filming a YouTube video that'll post in the next few days in more detail about this. But I tell this story about, I remember when I was an asylum officer, that there was this colleague of mine who interviewed a guy who had a baseball hat on for the Chicago, or not a baseball hat, a basketball hat, the Chicago Bulls. Well, in the United States and in other countries, that is associated with a certain gang, and like this certain gang wears a lot of Bulls clothing, and so the asylum officer and the fraud detection and national security unit at the asylum office just like grilled this guy. I mean, they asked him questions for hours because they thought he was part of a gang, because they saw in a Facebook picture him with a Chicago Bulls basketball hat on, right? Well, it turns out the guy was just a basketball fan. He was like obsessed with basketball. He posted all the time about basketball, about all kinds of stuff related to basketball. He was in basketball chat groups. Like he was seriously a basketball fanatic. And he was like from the Chicago, either he was from there or he had lived there in the past or something. He was seriously a legitimate Chicago Bulls fan. He got lucky and he was able to sort of explain it. But I assure you, there's other people that don't. There's people that have something that's posted on social media that probably is actually innocent, but the government takes it out of context and they're like, oh, you must be a criminal or you must be a liar. And they get denied because of it. Okay. Misunderstandings happen all the time. And you can be denied just because of something that's on your social media. So look, be very careful about posting things that could be taken out of context. If there's things on there that you think are potentially problematic, I would delete them, because you want to avoid misunderstandings, right? And look, be careful about what you post. Be careful about whom you befriend. Okay, if you get a friend request or a connection request from someone that you don't know, be suspicious, because we have seen reports that in the past, actually DHS has acknowledged, they've said in the past that they were creating these fake profiles to befriend people, and Facebook even went to them about it and complained, saying, hey, you're violating our terms of service by intentionally creating fake accounts. So look, be careful what you post on social media. Be careful what you say. Be careful of pictures that you post. One thing that can really get people into trouble and cause a lot of suspicion and make their life very hard is pictures of people with weapons. Like you'll see someone, lots of people post on Facebook or wherever else, Instagram, or put videos on TikTok or YouTube Shorts of like them with hunting rifles or weapons that they use for hunting, or maybe it's a toy for a costume party, but they've got a toy weapon in their hand. Those things are not taken lightly at the asylum office or at USCIS in general. Okay. That will get a lot of questions asked. And it's definitely better to avoid those kinds of potential problems if you can. Okay. So be very careful about social media. All right. Let's see who we got. Where are you at? Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Ali Reza says, do they check social media before or after the interview? Oh, there we are. Good question. The question is this: if the government's going to check out your social media to kind of do it as part of a background check on you, when are they going to do that? Is it going to be before the interview, after the interview, or what? Well, it's almost certainly going to be before, unless something happens during the interview that makes them think, oh, we need to look into this person more, or we specifically want to check this account because of something that happened. But no, usually if it happens, it's going to be before. To the best of my knowledge, they're not scouring everyone's social media. I mean, look, there may be AI now that helps them to very quickly go out and perform a search that tries to find your social media and integrates, any signals of potentially problematic things. That's publicly available information, like that you've posted publicly. But they may be doing a real intentional deep search to try to look at your life. So you have to be prepared for that. You have to know that, what's out there, that what you've posted publicly is fair game, and they might look for it. If they do, it'll probably be before the interview. So you might have to answer for it at the interview. Okay. All right. Nice. Let's see what questions we have and where we're watching from. We've got Mohammed says, you're the best. Thank you. Very kind of you. Peaceful Man says from Denver. Nice. I love Denver. Colorado's great. Kanye Ernest says, if anyone here is contemplating hiring a lawyer, Brian and team are the best in this game. Very kind of you. I promise we didn't pay Kanye Ernest for that. Thank you. Very kind of you to trust us with your case. We appreciate your trust, and we're going to keep earning it by doing a great job and presenting a great case for you. Okay. Thank you, Kanye, for the nice words. All right. All right. Thomas, another nice one. This is like unpaid advertising hour. This is great. Thomas Yergetu says, hi, Brian. This is on YouTube. Hi, Brian. I'm excited to be your client. Your team is so awesome. Nice. I appreciate those comments about our team. I work really hard to try to hire great people who are great at what they do in terms of the actual substance, but also who treat our clients great so that you have a great experience. So thank you for mentioning that. It means a lot to me that you acknowledge our team because I think they're great too. Thanks, Thomas. Those of you on TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, go to YouTube, okay? That's where I've got all my best stuff. I've got lots of trainings, like full-length tutorials, really detailed trainings over on YouTube. That's where my best stuff is. And look, if you want to talk with us, please go right now to winasylum.com. That's WINASYLUM.com. Winasylum.com. That's where you can schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can really get to know you, get to know your immigration situation, your goals, get to know your case and analyze it and tell you whether we think we're in a position to help you. If we think that we're in a position to help you, we're going to explain how exactly we would do that, like what the concrete steps are that we would take as part of our asylum action plan to help you build and present the strongest case possible, give you the best possible chance of winning your case. That's what we want to do. Camel or Commander says, hey, Brian, my two friends are scheduled for asylum interview in Chicago asylum office, but they're not going to actual office, but different location. I looked it up on Google and it says it's a court, ? Look, are you sure that it's meant to be an asylum interview and not a court hearing? Yeah, look, Camel, sometimes people think that they're in affirmative asylum proceedings with USCIS, but they're confused and they're really in deportation proceedings with the immigration judge and immigration court. So they'll just say, oh, I have an interview. I'm going to go have my asylum interview, but really it's not an interview. It's a court hearing because they're in immigration court proceedings. So I don't know if your friends are confused, because it happens. It's reasonable. It happens. Or if maybe they were with USCIS, but then their case got referred without an interview to court. That really rarely happens. Very rarely happens, but it does every once in a while. So I don't know if that's what's going on. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you except that I hope they have a lawyer. I hope they have an asylum lawyer who can actually look into it. Like if it were our clients, we would figure this out. We would figure out what's going on, and we would help them. We would prepare for what lies ahead. But I hope they have an asylum lawyer. Okay. Gogi says, what's the most credible evidence you can present in immigration court? Good question. The question is this: what's the most persuasive, most reliable evidence that you can present in your asylum case? Easy answer: your testimony. Look, you can win without any evidence whatsoever as long as your testimony, meaning like what you say at your interview or court hearing, as long as what you say is detailed, consistent, and plausible. Again, detailed, consistent, and plausible. That's the standard that the law actually says, that you can win asylum without any evidence as long as that your testimony is detailed, consistent, and plausible. That's the most important thing. Okay, but beyond that, what else is most important in terms of actual evidence other than testimony? Look, medical records can be really helpful if you've had harm in the past, if you've been physically harmed or you've suffered psychological mental harm from things you've gone through. Medical records that show that, or things like photographs of that showing bruises or injuries to you if you were physically harmed. I would say that's probably that's more powerful than like witness letters. But yeah, anything that helps back up what you're saying can be helpful if it's crafted well and presented well. Okay, but again, testimony is the most important. All right. Yeah, Kamel says their interview was scheduled right after applying 1 month later. Yeah, a lot of people are getting their interviews right away, Kamel. A lot of people are getting their interviews right away. The question then is this. The question is this. When are you going to get your asylum interview with USCIS if you apply right now? Look, we can't predict this with a whole lot of confidence. You never know with USCIS. However, what I can tell you is that a lot of people are getting their interviews very quickly, pretty much right after they apply, within 3 to 7 or 8 weeks after they apply, which is very surprising to hear for a lot of people because, look, everyone knows of people from their community, friends or whatever, that have been waiting for many years for an interview, 4, 5, 10, 12 years. So you might be ready to apply now thinking, okay, I'm going to apply and then I'm going to chill because I'm not going to get my interview for several years. I don't have to worry about it. I'll deal with that down the road several years later. No, you got to be ready to go now because you might get your interview right away. You got to be ready. I hope you have an asylum lawyer if you're considering applying because you got to be ready to build that case out completely in a matter of just a few weeks because you might get your interview right away. Okay, and there's a lot of work to be done if you want to give yourself the best possible chance of winning your case so you can secure your future in America through asylum. Okay, if you want to talk with us about that, we would love to talk. You can schedule an asylum strategy session with one of our asylum professionals at winasylum.com, winasylum.com. Hey, we got hello from Miami, says Alan Blind. Hello, glad you're with us. Deal day. We got from New York. I hired your firm for my case. Great. Thank you. Thanks for putting your trust in us. We take it very seriously. Look, hiring a lawyer is a huge decision. Hiring an asylum lawyer is a huge decision. This case has massive consequences for your safety, for your future. And so it's a big deal. We take it, we acknowledge that. We appreciate the gravity of the situation and this decision. And we thank you for putting your trust in us, and we're going to keep earning it. That's the third client we've had comments today. Our clients are all over Facebook and YouTube on this live today. Okay. Good question. Study for Life says, I want to ask a question. I applied for asylum, but my wife is in my native country. Can I bring her to the USA? Good question. The question is this. Is there a way to bring your spouse to the United States if they're back in your home country while you've got a pending asylum application here in the United States? So let's say you applied with USCIS and you're waiting for your asylum interview, but your spouse, maybe your children are back home in your country. Unfortunately, no. There's no kind of like visa type that they can apply for or that you can request for them that's going to bring them here while your case is pending, unfortunately. And if they go to apply for like a tourist visa, there's a good chance they're going to be denied. Not 100%. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it still happens. But there's a pretty good chance they're going to be denied because you're here seeking asylum. And the visa officer is going to be like, oh, well, so your husband's in the U.S. and he's been there for, whatever, however long. And, oh, he's seeking asylum. Oh, okay. Well, then I think you're probably just going to go and stay with them and seek asylum too. And so they'll get denied the visa. You have to wait, unfortunately, until you win your case. Then you can petition to bring your spouse and children here. If you've been waiting for multiple years for your interview, you should consider suing the government. We love doing that. We do it all the time, and it works. It's powerful. Our clients love it because it works. So we should talk about that if you've been waiting for multiple years for your interview. Okay, that's probably going to be the quickest way to bring your family here. Look, if you're here and you want to be reunited with your family who's back in your country, and you've been waiting for years, the quickest way almost certainly to be reunited is for you to get your interview so you can win your case, so you can start the process of doing the petition to bring them here called this is called Form I-730. That's the name of the form that you use to ask USCIS, hey, now that I'm an asylee, I've won asylum, I want to bring my spouse and children here. That's how you do that process. And the quickest way to move toward that is to get your interview. The quickest way to get your interview, if you've been waiting multiple years, is to sue the government in a mandamus lawsuit, what we call an asylum delay lawsuit. Okay. So Study for Life, we should look, if you want to talk with us about that, we would love to do that in a consultation. Go to winasylum.com, winasylum.com. All right. DEFI or DEHFII says, my lawyer provided the wrong dates of incidents in my country and now he demands more money to correct that. But the thing is, I can't trust him now. So if I'll change the dates, will this hurt my case? Well, that's two different issues to address there. All right. Let's do it in two different questions. The first question, the question is this: what if you accidentally messed up something in your application materials or your supporting documents? Like if you messed up the dates of incidents in your case, like if it says something happened on the wrong date, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. You can fix it. You can do this ahead of time by submitting like an amended asylum application or a letter that like amends that explains the problem and sets it straight if the problem also occurs or occurs only in like your declaration or other materials. You can do it. You can put it in writing and correct it in writing ahead of time. But honestly, you can also just wait till the time of the interview, because at the time of the interview, at the beginning of it, they go over like your whole application with you. And during that time, you can say, oh, I made a mistake. This needs to be updated. You definitely want to bring it up though, and make sure that you say that, even if it's in like your declaration, at the end of the review of the asylum application, you should say, oh, officer, in my declaration, there's a mistake. It's this, it really should be this. Sorry about that. Can we change it? You need to do that before you get into the substantive questions part of the interview. If you get to the Q&A where it's the substantive questions about your case and you haven't corrected that, then you've got a problem. Okay. The question is this: what should you do if your lawyer messes something up in your case? You ask them to correct it and they won't do it, or maybe they demand more money to go back and do a new filing with USCIS, like to do an amendment to amend the application, or do a letter that sort of explains that corrections need to be made in supporting documents. Like if your lawyer maybe is like saying, oh, no, you need to pay me a bunch more money to do that. It's probably time to look for a new lawyer. Look, you need to have confidence going into your asylum interview that you've got the best person by your side before the interview, in terms of preparing the case on paper, fighting the case on paper, presenting it on paper, and then preparing you for your interview, and then also representing you during the interview. You want the best person possible. This is too important, okay? We're talking about your safety. We're talking about your future, the life that you want to build here in America. It's too important to go with anything other than what you think will be the very best lawyer to give you the best chance to win your case. So if your lawyer is showing these red flags, these signs like this now, it may be time to consider a switch. Okay, that's what I think. All right. When applying for asylum, should all the proof be uploaded with the written statement? Good question. So the question is this: when you apply for asylum, do you need to provide all of your supporting documents, like, for example, declaration, evidence, and then if hopefully you've got a lawyer who's writing a legal brief and is going to cite to and include behind their legal brief country conditions information. This is what we call the supporting documents, right? Do you need to submit all the supporting documents at the time that you apply for asylum, or can you do it later? Look, you can do it later, okay? In fact, most people, it probably makes sense to do it later, because you want to focus hard on just the asylum application form, but you want to do it quickly, because look, the sooner you apply for asylum, the sooner you can get your work permit, and the sooner you just sort of get in queue and get the process started, okay? The sooner you apply for asylum, usually the better. So it's okay to focus on that, but then right away start working on what we call a supplemental filing. Actually, we call it an asylum roadmap, this packet of supporting documents, because it's like a map that shows the officer how to get to the answer yes in your case in the easiest way possible. But you got to be ready to move quickly, because especially right now with USCIS, many people who are applying right now are getting their interview several weeks after they apply. So you've got to be ready to move fast on this stuff, okay? If you don't submit it all up front. All right, nice. United Mindset says, my permanent residence is in process in Canada based on approved asylum case, and you're talking about coming to the US. You're going to have a very, very difficult time getting asylum in the US, probably United Mindset. I mean, it may be worth talking through with an asylum professional or asylum lawyer, but if you got asylum in Canada, you're probably going to be subject to what's called the firm resettlement bar. There's exceptions to that, but it's going to be tough to get around that, okay? Camel says they don't have a lawyer. They applied by themselves. Okay, Camel, look. When did you say it is? Next week or in 2 weeks? If it's more than a week from now, they should call us and do a consultation immediately. Like, they should get on our calendar for Monday, because we might be able to figure this out for them. And also, we can for sure do, if it's at least a week away, we can do a mock interview. Okay, the practice interview where we do everything from beginning to end. All right. So then the question is this: what is the mock interview that we offer, and how could it be helpful to you? Look, we do everything with a client from beginning to end, everything they're going to experience on the day of their real asylum interview. We treat it like it's the real thing. We won't break character. The lawyer doing this with you will not break character and give you comments or anything. We do that later in a second follow-up session called a debrief session, because we want you to feel like you've been there and done that, like you've been in a real USCIS interview. This gives you confidence. This makes you feel better and more comfortable when it's time for the real thing. So we do the full-scale mock interview. Then we do a debrief session where we give you feedback and all of our best asylum tips. Look, you can go into the real interview with confidence, feeling comfortable, prepared, ready to do a great job. And this is important because the interview's hard. It's harder than you expect. The officer doesn't just let you sort of talk and explain your story. Rather, they're going to ask you question after question after question. They're constantly interrupting you. They're changing topics frequently. And the sad truth is that many of them are anti-immigrant, and they're just looking for an excuse to deny you. But with the proper preparation, you can do a great job. You can drastically, I believe, increase your chances for success. And this mock interview that we offer is a huge, huge part of that for our clients. Okay, look, we do offer this as a standalone service. We do this with all of our clients who hire us, to be their lawyers for their whole asylum case. But we also offer it as a standalone service. Like maybe you just can't afford to hire us to do everything in your case. But you've got a little bit of money and you want to do the best that you can. You want to get the best, a return on investment for that. Well, the mock interview could be a good thing. If your interview's already been scheduled, but it's at least like a week away, then there's a good chance that we'll be able to fit you in our schedule for the mock interview, which I think can be a huge game changer for you. So you should go, if you've got an interview coming up, go right now to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com, and schedule this consultation go right now. Just open up another browser or webpage, whatever tab, and go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. That's where you can schedule this asylum strategy session where we can talk you through this and tell you a lot more about the mock interview and why we think it can help you. Okay. All right. Steve says, I did apply for asylum before my expiration of my V2 visa. What benefits do I have if I apply when I'm a legal visitor? Good question. The question is this. Do you get any kind of benefit by having applied for asylum while you still had legal immigration status, valid status? So like if you come on a tourist visa, most people who come on a tourist visa get admitted into the United States for 6 months. So if you apply for asylum before the 6-month mark, while you still have your tourist status, does that help you? Is there a benefit from that? Look, there's no benefit to help you. That doesn't help you win your asylum case. No, it doesn't really make any difference at all. Look, I think the sooner you apply for asylum, the better for various reasons. I think it's even best to do it within a month or two of coming to the U.S. But is it better to do it at 5 months than 7 months? Not much. No. Look, there is this thing called this issue called unlawful presence that can make it harder for you to get immigration benefits here in the future. If you leave the U.S. and then you want to come back later, if you have too much unlawful presence, there's a bar that says you can't come back for either 3 years or 10 years, depending on the circumstances. And applying for asylum before you lose your tourist status helps you it makes it such that you don't accrue, you don't get unlawful status, illegal unlawful presence. But that's not something that you honestly need to be worried about right now. You need to be worried about winning your asylum case. And no, the fact that you applied while you still have status doesn't help you to win your asylum case. It makes no difference at all in the officer's eyes. Okay. All right. Wow, Alan Blind, this is tough. He says, my wife is waiting for an interview for PTSD after abuse. Do we have a chance, considering we have 3 kids here and we've been waiting for 10 years? Well, first of all, I'm really sorry to hear that about what your wife has been through. That sounds incredibly difficult. Must be really hard for you and your family and your wife. So I'm really sorry to hear about that. Okay. Look, the question is, this. Does someone who has endured real abuse in their country and who has applied for asylum and they've been waiting now for a long time, they've been here like 10 years and they have some U.S. citizen children, do you have a good chance to win asylum under these circumstances? Well, look, it's impossible to really give you even a sense for how strong of a case you might have without knowing a lot more. Because look, even very, very bad abuse in the past, is not enough by itself to win asylum. There's lots of things you have to show and prove to win asylum, but the other sort of key thing besides the persecution piece is what they call the nexus piece. You have to convince the officer that the harm was motivated by the fact that the applicant possesses one of the 5 protected characteristics under U.S. asylum law. It's because of your race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or something called membership in a particular social group. And this is it can be a pretty complex analysis to try to sort of connect these two things. So it's something that we really need to talk through in an asylum strategy session. Look, the fact that you've been here a long time and that you have kids here, no, it does not help you win asylum. The officer doesn't care about that. They just care about whether you meet the strict asylum eligibility requirements. But we should talk about this. Okay? We should talk for sure. Go to winasylum.com, okay? All in blind, go to winasylum.com. I want to talk with you about this. But look, that raised, another thing that you brought up raises something else. And the question is this. What should you do if you've been waiting for your asylum interview for a really long time, like 10 years, and you're sick of waiting and you want to get your interview so you can win your case and move on with your life? Well, 2 questions. First, does that help you win? The fact that you've been here for a long time, do you get any kind of credit or bonus for that? And then secondly, what can you do to finally get your interview? It does not help you. No, the officer doesn't care. They don't care that you've been waiting for 1 month for your interview or 1 year or 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. They don't care. They just want to know, do you meet the strict asylum eligibility requirements? But look, I believe that in general, the sooner you have your interview, the better. I think the more time that passes, the harder it is to win, which means you should try to push your case forward. If you've been waiting 10 years, you are in a very, very strong position to have success with an asylum delay lawsuit, a lawsuit that we call a mandamus lawsuit that we use to force them to give you your interview and then to give you your decision quickly after your interview. We do this very frequently. It's an extremely powerful tool. Our clients love it because it works. We should talk about this. We should definitely talk. I want to talk with you. You've been waiting for multiple years. Let's talk about whether it makes sense to sue the government. Winasylum.com, winasylum.com. Okay. I want to talk. All right. Asterisk Alliance says, are they going to roll back the 5-year work permit to 2 years or less? I don't know. Maybe. I do kind of worry about that. Yeah, I do worry about it. Asterisk. I don't know, but I think they might. Ithakar says, hope you're doing well. As of last live, it seems you had a cold. We need you to be on top. Thank you for looking at, I'm trying to think if I did have a cold. When was that? A couple of days ago? Yeah, you're right. I might have had a little bit of a cold a couple of days ago. Thank you. Thanks for noticing. Thanks for your concern about my well-being. I appreciate that. The question though was, they asked, having a U.S. child in an affirmative asylum case, child's not 21 yet. Later, what's the merit for adjustment of status? The question is this. If you've got a U.S. citizen child and you're applying for asylum, can your child still petition for you to get a green card through them, even if you lose your asylum case? Well, look, remember your U.S. citizen child needs to first be 21 years old, right, before they can petition for you to get a green card through them. Now, the fact that you have lost an asylum case in the U.S. will not necessarily keep you from getting a green card through your child. This is what they call an immediate relative petition for a green card based on marriage, and there's some flexibility there in terms of like it's easier to get a green card on that basis than it is most other family-based green cards where it's not an immediate relative situation. So the good news is that, yeah, you may still qualify for the green card even if you don't have success with your asylum case, okay? So that's good news. But the kid, having a U.S. citizen child will not help you to win asylum. It's not something the officer cares about. We get that question all the time. People are like, oh, well, will the fact that I have a U.S. citizen child help me win my case? Does it look good? Does it sort of help me? But the answer is no. The officer doesn't care. They just care about whether you meet the strict asylum eligibility requirements. Look, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, you're going to see a graphic on my screen. LinkedIn, you're missing it. The graphic is right there. That's what it looks like when you go on your cell phone and your mobile to winasylum.com. It's that what you're seeing there is how quick and easy it can be to arrange a consultation. To book is the word I was looking for. Book a consultation. Quick and easy at winasylum.com. winasylum.com. All right, that's where you can book the consultation. Okay, what do we got? What questions do we have? winasylum.com. All right, nice. Oh, nice. Good. Loic, I'm so glad that you talked with us. Loic says, looking forward to work with your team, currently onboarding with the help of Talia. You are a brilliant lawyer. Thank you for the kind words. Look, Loic, I have personal reasons for which I really like helping people from DR Congo. I don't think you've hired us yet, have you? I think I would have seen your name come across. So I don't think you've hired us yet, but hope it sounds like maybe you said you're in the process of onboarding with Talia. Glad you had a good talk with Talia, one of our asylum professionals. And I am looking forward to you getting started with us. All right. Any new updates for asylum with USCIS, says Surab. Let me address it. The question is this. What's going on with asylum cases at USCIS with Trump back in power? Well, look, two things that you should know about. One is if you apply right now, there's a good chance you could get your interview right away. Now, this is not because of the Trump administration. This was happening for the last few months of the Biden administration as well, that many people who are applying now are getting their interview within several weeks of applying. So you've got to be ready. You've got to be ready. Hopefully you have an asylum lawyer and you're ready to put your case together really quickly. The second thing you should know is that it's possible to win asylum. Yes, even under Trump, it's possible. We're still winning. We had several approvals last week. This week, I'm sure we're going to have more next week. We're winning and we're going to keep winning. But I do think it's going to be harder. I think every month that Trump is in power, it's probably going to get a little bit harder to win asylum. So look, if you've already applied and you've been waiting for several years for your interview, I think it makes sense to consider suing the government to get your interview now. I think having your interview sooner rather than later gives you a better chance for success. Okay. I think it's going to get by year 4 of the Trump presidency. I think it's going to be much harder. Okay. Oh no. Johnson says, my lawyer applied for asylum and got my EAD in January. Unfortunately, he's now sick and unable to speak. I'm sorry to hear about that. I'm sorry about that, Johnson. That's too bad. I hope your lawyer recovers. All right. Oh, interesting. Asterisk Alliance says, what if somebody changes lawyers midway and the lawyer doesn't accept it in a good way and he sends an email to USCIS saying, hey, is this person's fake, fraud? Can he do that? Is he going to impact the case? Interesting question. I hope I assume you're asking that because you're afraid that your old lawyer will do that if you fire him or her and go with a new one. I'm sorry you're in that difficult position. Look, the question is this. Do lawyers who get fired by their clients ever send information into USCIS to try to tarnish that person? Like, let's say you have a lawyer, you decide they're not the best fit for you, not the best person for you, you fire them and you go hire a new lawyer. Does the old lawyer ever reach out to USCIS and say, yeah, this person's a fake or their case is a fraud? That's what we call a poison pin letter. And people do send those into USCIS. Honestly, I've never seen a lawyer do it. It's possible though. Sure, a lawyer could do it. I've seen other people do it. Friends, family, whatever, enemies of people. If a lawyer did it, they could be in big trouble with their bar association. That would definitely be grounds for a bar complaint. So it's probably because of that it's not common at all with lawyers. So I think the chances of it happening are very, very low. If it does happen, if your old lawyer does that, will USCIS believe it? They don't they'll think about it, but they don't put a bunch of weight behind these poison pen letters. Like, they know that people have all kinds of weird motives for wanting to tarnish someone. So no, it won't necessarily ruin your case. The fact that someone, including a disgruntled lawyer, says something bad about you. Okay. Look, I would definitely not let that stop you from changing lawyers. If that's what look, if you are in a position where you're afraid that your lawyer might do something like that, you are in a bad position. That means that your lawyer has completely lost your trust and that you think that they're a shady, ill-intentioned person. That's bad. That's really bad that you even think, it's unfortunate that you think that you have to worry about that, which to me says it's time for a new lawyer. Okay. All right. What do we got? We've got Lillian who said, Rodriguez de Faria. I applied for asylum in 2016, came with a visa and applied before my I-94 expiration, waiting until today for an interview. In this time, I graduated with a bachelor in nursing and work in a hospital. Congratulations. Sounds like you're doing great, building a life, a good life for yourself here, Lillian. Congratulations. Look, Lillian, if you came in 2016, you're in a very strong position to have success with a mandamus lawsuit. I really encourage you to talk with an asylum lawyer about whether it makes sense to do that, to sue the government to force your asylum interview. Okay, we would love to talk. Look, I want to say something, but I need to preface it by saying that past results do not guarantee future results. Okay, what happened in the past doesn't guarantee anything about what's going to happen in the future. Having said that, I want to tell you that, look, we've sued the government in these mandamus lawsuits over 100 times in the last maybe year and a half or so, and we have not lost a single one of those cases yet. Okay? Doesn't mean that we're going to win your case or your case or your case or any particular case or any case ever again, in fact. But I bring that up to stress the point that it can be a very powerful tool. If you're tired of waiting and you want to give yourself the best possible chance to win your case by getting your interview sooner rather than later, you should consider this mandamus lawsuit. Okay. All right. Good question. Nayeli says, if I leave the country right after I dismiss my asylum, the time that the asylum was pending, did I accrue unlawful presence? No. From the time that the USCIS in their system says application case closed, from that moment on, you would start accruing lawful presence. But no, you would not have unlawful presence for the time back while the application was pending. No. Leaving the country would not undo that protection. Okay. Should I apply for mandamus or try EB3 Schedule A? Look, both, Lillian. If you think that you might qualify for EB3, or your employer thinks that, hopefully they have a lawyer who's working on this that thinks, if they think that there's a good chance you qualify for it, you should do both. You should do both. I believe you should pursue every route available to try to get long-term status here. Okay. And those two things are not mutually exclusive. One doesn't hurt the other. Okay. Do we have a payment plan for our services? Yes, we do. We require an initial payment. It's like maybe a third or so of the total attorney fee. And then the rest can be, then there's a couple different payment plans, structures depending on the case type. But look, you're going to, as of right now, the time that I'm doing this live, for an asylum case with USCIS, we charge $10,000. And the initial payment is $4,000, and then you make two additional payments several months later, in most cases, to get it up to $10,000 total. For immigration court, it's more. For immigration court, it's $14,000, and you make an initial payment for those cases of $5,000. Okay, that's right now at the moment that I'm making this video. I can't guarantee that will stay the same for long, but that's what it is right now. Okay, RuPaul says, "What's the success rate in California?" It's high. It's definitely among the higher approval rates in the country. I mean, overall, California is the best state to be an asylum seeker because the immigration courts there and both of the asylum offices, San Francisco and LA, they all have high rates of approval. It's the best place overall to be an asylum seeker, okay? All right. Multiple check marks and the option fear of persecution, religion, political group, torture, is it good? Yeah, if you fear being harmed because of those different things on account of those different characteristics that you possess or the bad guys believe you possess, then yeah, you should select all of them that apply. Okay, and you should always select the torture one. Okay, always select the torture one, and then any of the other ones that you think apply. I mean, assuming you do fear being harmed so severely that it would count as torture, then you should check the torture box. Don't check it if you don't fear being harmed really bad, though. Okay? Oh, nice. Another nice comment. Rodrigo Custodio says, just wanted to say yesterday I had a great experience with one of your team members. Extremely helpful. Who was it, Rodrigo? Let me know who, if you remember the name, it was probably either Talia, Ricardo, Dan, or Daniel, or Natalia. It was probably one of those. I think that's who was doing calls yesterday for our asylum strategy sessions. Who was it, Rodrigo? Let me know so I can tell them that they got a shout out on YouTube. They'll appreciate that. They'll get a kick out of that. Les Abacuk Fideles de Bostra says, hi, Brian, if you have an asylum hearing in your native country is in war, what chances do you have? Good question. The question is this. Will the fact that your country's at war mean that you're going to win your asylum case? No, not necessarily. No. Look, the fact that your country is at war is definitely not enough for you to win your case. The asylum officer cares about you and your particular situation. They care about whether you personally are at grave risk. Now, if you've been targeted and if you've been harmed and threatened, and there's reason to believe that someone actively wants to harm you, then of course that's one thing, and that's, it's bad for you, but it's good for winning your asylum case, right? But you can also win because you fit the profile of someone who is of a group of people who are being regularly persecuted in your country, such that just fitting that profile or having this characteristic puts you at grave risk. But you also have to show that harm that you would suffer is motivated by the fact that you possess one of the 5 protected characteristics under U.S. asylum law: race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or something called membership in a particular social group. So no, there's a lot. What I'm saying is there's a lot of things you have to show the asylum officer to win asylum. Just showing that your country's at war is not enough, okay? They care about you and whether you personally meet the requirements for asylum. Thank you, Rodrigo, for taking the time to comment about the good experience that you had with one of our team members. Glad to hear that. Glad they treated you great. They're great. They're stars. Our asylum professionals, they're great. They're good at what they do. They care about people. They want to get to know you. They want to get to understand your situation, your case, and see if we can help you. All right. Kazbish says, Brian, great, thank you, in all caps. Your YouTube videos helped me to be prepared for an interview, and I got approval recently. Congratulations. You won your case, Kazbish. That's great news. I'm very glad to hear that. Congratulations. And thank you for taking the time to comment and tell us that the videos helped you. For those of you on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, what are you doing? Go to YouTube. Look, YouTube's where I've got all my best stuff. And Kazbish just said on YouTube that our YouTube videos helped them to win their asylum case. They won asylum. They watched a bunch of our videos and they won their asylum case. Look, the best thing is to hire us to be your asylum lawyers. I think that's the way to get the best possible chance of winning your case. If you can't make that happen, then you should live on our YouTube channel for a few weeks. You should watch every video, especially the trainings. Look, in our YouTube channel, under the playlist, there's two playlists that you'll want to watch. One of them says full-length asylum trainings, and it's got very detailed trainings. And then if you've already applied, but now you're waiting for your interview, watch the playlist that says asylum interview, all about the asylum interview, okay? All right. Anonymous D says, but your videos and tips are really helping me, using them to prepare my case next week. Anonymous D, you mean what do you have next week? You mean you're applying next week, or you have an interview next week, or what? Look, Anonymous D, if you have an interview next week, we should talk. Well, actually, honestly, no, we don't have time. If it was in 2 weeks, we would have time to at least do a mock interview with you. But we don't have time to do that right now if your interview is literally this coming week. But I hope it goes great. I encourage you to live on the YouTube channel for the next few days. Watch all the asylum video and all of the in the playlist and all of our trainings. All right. Does a asylum denial in Canada make you ineligible for asylum in the USA? No, not necessarily. Okay. Oh, Faradan Khan says, hello, what about P2 applications for Afghans and those who have approval from USCIS? Look, man, have you seen the news? I think it was either yesterday or today that like the Trump administration is probably going to take away TPS from Afghans, and not allow any more to come to the U.S. that are in the process of coming here. it's really sad. It's terrible. Look, I don't know, to answer to your question. I mean, look, if you were hoping to get status through the P2 arrangement, but it hasn't happened yet, if you've applied for asylum, you should consider, you should pursue your asylum claim for sure. If you haven't yet applied for asylum, you should talk with an asylum lawyer about whether it makes sense to apply if you do in fact fear being harmed back in your country. That's what I can tell you, at least right now. Okay. If a case gets denied with USCIS, how long does it take to have a hearing in immigration court? Good question. The question is this: what's the process like, and how long does it take to conclude if your case gets sent from USCIS asylum office over to immigration court? So we're talking here about a scenario where USCIS does your asylum interview and they say, nope, you don't qualify, and they refer your case to court where you are in deportation proceedings and the government's trying to deport you, but you get a second chance. You get to explain your case and the judge decides. How long does that take? It's impossible to predict because, look, all the judges have different calendars, different timelines, mainly based on how long they've been there. So newer judges, they have more openings, more availability, and it could go pretty fast. Like you could be completely done in immigration court within a year with a newer judge. But most of them are not like that. Most of them, if you get assigned to a judge, the assignments are random, by the way. If you get assigned to most judges that have pretty full calendars, it's probably going to take multiple years for your case to run its course in immigration court. At least one, almost certainly 2 or 3 or 4 years. Okay. All right. Nice. All right. Uncle Abdo says, Mr. Brian, you said that California is the golden state for asylum seekers and San Francisco is the highest approval rate in USCIS and immigration court. Does that change, or will it change drastically? It's still the case. Look, I've heard that I know that the San Francisco Asylum Office has a relatively new director, person in charge, and I've heard that they're a little bit, they're instilling a culture that will lead to more denials. I don't think I've seen that anecdotally with our cases in San Francisco. We have not seen a decline in approval rates, at least yet. So that's good news. So no, I haven't seen a change yet, but you never know, right? Okay, nice. Iftikhar says, what's the price? What's the fee to talk with us? How much does a consultation cost? $97 right now. Look, we used to charge $197 for a consultation, and then they were free for a while, but now we're charging $97. We're trying to find the right balance because a lot of people want to talk because of what's going on, because the Trump administration is, trying to deport everyone they can, basically. And so people are understandably nervous and scared, and they want to get the best help possible. So we're getting a lot of calls, and we decided to charge to be able to sort of meet the demand. And so we're doing $97 right now. That's the answer. Rodrigo says it was Ricardo. Thank you for mentioning that, Rodrigo. If Dakar, you almost certainly will not talk with me. I don't really do many consultations, okay? But my colleagues who do them are great, as Rodrigo is saying on YouTube. He said he had a great experience yesterday, I think you said, with Ricardo, one of our asylum professionals. They'll treat you great, Iftikhar. I've helped train them. They know what they're doing. They're good at getting the information they need. They're good at explaining things to you. You'll have a good experience. I'm very confident, okay? All right. Hey, Leonardo, good to see you. He says, when filing my I-589, I selected the reason that best applied to me, but in fact, I qualify for more than one reason. Is that a big deal? Can I amend the application somehow? Yeah. Look, that's the kind of thing, Leonardo, that you don't need to amend ahead of time. At your asylum interview, when the officer starts to review the application with you, just tell them, be like, hey, I just checked that one box, but honestly, officer, I think that there's this other one or two that I think probably applies to me too. Can we please amend the application to check that box, and they'll say yes. It's not a big deal. It won't hurt your case. Okay. Syed says, can you tell me I submitted my asylum application December 12th, 2024. May I get a work permit after 150 days? Is there any chance? I'm from Pakistan, Hazara community, Qatar in the administration. Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, there's a chance for sure. I mean, I want to know more about Syed. I want to know much more about your case and tell you whether I think there's a good chance for success. But you said, can you get a work permit 150 days after you applied? Yeah, when you reach where are we now? January, February. Oh yeah, we're at 150 days. No, wait. No, that's 5 months. We're not at 150 days. Yeah, when you reach 150 days, you can apply for the work permit, okay? Steve says, what about New Jersey level of approval? It's pretty good. New Jersey has pretty high approval rates. New Jersey's pretty good. If approved in Canada, would I be ineligible for asylum in the USA? Almost certainly, yes, because the firm resettlement bar will be implicated. There are exceptions to that, but it's hard to overcome them. Okay. Or it's hard to establish eligibility for one of the exceptions. Peaceful Man. Oh man, we're getting all kinds of love for our asylum professionals today. Peaceful Man says, really enjoyed my meeting with Ricardo as well. Your team is fantastic, and I have been through a lot of immigration lawyers. That's a powerful testimony. Man, I'm going to put that all over the place. I'm going to put that on our website, Peaceful Man. I'm going to put that everywhere. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. That means a lot to me that so you've been through a lot of immigration lawyers, and our team is fantastic. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Ron C on YouTube says, thanks a lot for what you're doing. This video is really helpful. God bless you. Thank you. You too. All right. Freddie says, if on asylum, can you call your family back home, child or parent? Not until you win asylum, Freddie. Once you win asylum, then you can petition for not your parent, your spouse and your children, but not your parent. Once you win asylum, you can do a petition to bring your spouse and your children to the United States, but not your parent. But while you're waiting, while your case is pending, no, there's no mechanism to bring them here while it's pending. Okay. All right. How about Georgia approval for affirmative political asylum, says Kundarp. Good question. The question is this. What's the approval rate like for people who live in Georgia and have an affirmative asylum application pending? Well, look, your case is going to be heard and considered by the Arlington Asylum Office. It's really far away from Georgia, but that's who has control over those cases, is the office in Arlington, Virginia. And the good news is they have a pretty high approval rate. I don't remember the exact number, but it's among the higher approval rates. Not as high as like in California with San Francisco and Los Angeles, but it's kind of like the next tier down in terms of the highest approval rates. So yeah, it's a good office. Look, I think that they tend to be pretty reasonable. Most of the asylum officers there are pretty reasonable and professional. It's one of the offices that I like dealing with the most, actually. So you definitely, that's good news for you, right? Better than the opposite. All right, folks, that's going to be it for today. But look, if you want to talk with us, I want you to go to winasylum.com, please. Chicago, yep, Chicago's pretty good too. Almost as good as Arlington, Virginia. Go to winasylum.com. Look, several people today on YouTube and Facebook were talking about having really good experiences recently with our asylum professionals, which are the people that do our consultations. Thank you for all the shout outs. That was cool to see all that. Thank you to several of you who made those comments. Thank you for that. So yeah, go talk with those folks now. All right. Go talk with our asylum professionals, schedule this consultation, get on our schedule so we can talk and see if we think we can help you. If we think that we can help you, we're going to tell you how. We're going to give you a detailed explanation of the exact concrete steps that we're going to take, the actual strategy. Because yes, we have a strategy. We have a plan. Most asylum lawyers, most immigration lawyers will not tell you what they're going to do to help you. Do you know why? Because they don't have a plan. They don't actually do much to help you, honestly. That's what I learned when I was an asylum officer, is most immigration lawyers do virtually nothing to actually help their clients win their case. But we're going to tell you in your asylum strategy session, we're going to tell you exactly what our asylum action plan, our strategy will be to give you the best possible chance of winning your case so you can secure your future in America through asylum. I'm Brian Manning. We help people all over the country. It doesn't matter where you are. So get in touch right now, winasylum.com. so we can talk. All right. Have a good afternoon, everyone, and a great weekend as well. Take care, guys. Bye, everyone. Bye, guys. Take care. YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook.